Hi, and welcome to this version of Focus Washington. I'm Rich Masters, sitting in this morning for Chuck Conconey, and joining us is a great guest and a longtime friend of the program, Governor Bob Wise. Governor Wise is also the president of the Alliance for Excellent Education, and welcome.
Good to be back. Thank you.
Well, I'm reading here where Congress has got a very hefty agenda coming back, in the fall. The one thing I don't see or see very low down on the list is the reauthorization of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, or ESSA. I know that the Alliance for Excellent Education really focuses on that. Why is it so far down the list?
I think it's far down the list because people are talking the economy, they're talking oil, capping an oil well, things like that. Having said that, the poll that we just did, a national poll conducted by a Republican pollster, a Democratic pollster, says it needs to be high up on the list. And in fact, 8 out of 10 said that they want an Elementary and Secondary Education Act. They view it as a voting issue, and they think it ought to be done this year. And 52%, very significant for anybody running for office, 52% said it will be a voting issue for them if it's not done. And so the American public wants an Elementary and Secondary Education Act because they understand that this is what the federal legislation that really assists the basic legislation for grades kindergarten through 12. They understand that No Child Left Behind has expired, and they understand that, and as the poll says, they understand that high schools in particular need a lot of attention, and they want Congress to act now.
Now, the Alliance for Excellent Education is a national public policy and advocacy organization. What are some of the things that you are doing to try to make sure that Congress hears that message, that this is something voters care about?
First thing we did was do the poll, because one thing, I've run for office before, one thing that everyone running for office understands are polls. But we've also done a lot more. We've helped prepare members of Congress with the information they need. We've done the economic analysis that if you cut the dropout rate in half in your community, what would it mean to you in terms of increased jobs, increased wages, what's the return on investment? And plus, we've also given a lot of solutions. The need, for instance, to use data, the Graduation Promise Act, which would target federal dollars to the lowest performing high schools to turn them around, how to boost teacher effectiveness. So we've put in front of Congress, here's what can be done, here's the crisis and why you need to react to it, here's the compelling voters speaking out saying we want it done this year.
And so what you're telling me is this is a jobs bill. In your estimation. I mean, we hear an awful lot of talk about passing legislation that creates jobs, but Republicans or Democrats, I don't see this as a jobs bill listed, but you're telling me it is a jobs bill.
It's a jobs bill both in the short term and the long term. The economic studies that we have done, for instance, in conjunction with State Farm, we showed that in the 45 largest metropolitan areas, simply cutting the dropout rate in half for one class would add $4 billion a year in increased wages alone. 30,000 new jobs created. That's for just one class. Wow. We even took it to how many homes and cars would be able to be purchased. And most importantly, 65% of those kids that would have been dropouts are now going on to some kind of post-secondary. So it's about, and the nice thing is not only will these young people be working, they're going to create additional jobs because they'll have additional spending. So you want to talk about the best economic stimulus package? It's a diploma. And what Congress needs to do, recognizing that, is to make sure that the tools are in the toolbox so that with the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, so that we can get started right away.
Now you're doing some very exciting work. Tell me where people can go on the internet to see more information about what you're doing and how they can become involved.
All they have to do is go www.allianceforexcellenteducation.org. Alliance for Excellent Education. Google it or just simply go there on our website, and it's all there, and you can go state by state and see how your state is doing in high schools and education, and most importantly, what it means to you economically to improve that educational system.
And message to Congress is pass ESSA?
Don't go home without it.
Great, thanks, appreciate it. Bob Wise is the president of the Alliance for Excellent Education, former governor of West Virginia. He's been our guest this morning. Again, thank you for all your great work, Governor. I'm Rich Masters, sitting in for Chuck Conconey on this edition of Focus Washington. Join us again.